Hello. Well, today I'm going to talk about a film I saw last weekend, um, which was Mandalorian and Grogu, the latest Star Wars film. And all I can say is I enjoyed the film. I thought it was very entertaining and fun. I had never seen the show, and I've seen people talk about it in like it's kind of disappointing. On one hand, it's like this just wasn't what you kind of wanted from a Star Wars film, or this or that, or and then on the other hand, people who if they're overtly, some people are just oh, it's the best Star Wars film we've had since Disney had it, or whatever. I've seen some people, not a whole lot, but I've seen some people who say that, and some people just have very glowing reviews. Of their own, and I'll just say I'm not gonna really spoil it, but I haven't watched The Mandalorian. Don't have Disney Plus. And I've seen some clips here and there, especially around the time when the show first came on, and I saw some clips. I remember there was like the opening. So there is that. But yeah, overall it was a pretty fun movie. Again, I saw it. I also saw it on an IMAX screen, which will probably help with my enjoyment because it's a very big screen. I saw it with my brother-in-law, which was and I saw it last Saturday, so the 23rd, which is a week after my birthday. So like a belated birthday yeah, gift in a way, but that happens. And because it didn't come out the week before, had that happened, I probably would have seen it on my birthday. But I have the what the film is about over here. Din Djarin and his apprentice Grogu work as contractors for the New Republic, tracking down Imperial warlords in the Outer Rim. When the New Republic offers information of an elusive Imperial warlord, the duo takes on an assignment to rescue Rada the Hutt from a criminal. And they are to take Rada to his aunt and uncle, who are siblings of Jabba the Hutt. So, yes, Jabba the Hutt, he has a Rada is his son, and played by Jeremy Allan White. And obviously Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian, or Din Djarin, as his name is officially. But it was quite the film. Obviously, this is the first Star Wars film in 7 years. But yeah, I just thought it's fine. It was a good film, pretty entertaining. Which is what you kind of want in a Star Wars film. And Sigourney Weaver plays a character named Ward, who is really giving the Mandalorian the assignments of who to basically get for the Imperial warlords. Because this also takes place after Return of the Jedi, on the off chance anybody else watching this has never seen The Mandalorian or really know much about it. So yeah, this all takes place after Return of the Jedi. The Empire has fallen, and so people are now just hiding out, and there's stormtroopers and everything in there. So, Martin Scorsese plays a character in this film. So, yeah, he voices I guess more specifically, he does the voice of the character. But yeah, overall, yeah, yeah. And it's also funny just because obviously Martin Scorsese and George Lucas are very good friends, and you know, also, and he was one of the directors who saw the original Star Wars, uh, like before any of the effects or the music or anything. It's like there's a lot of World War II footage for the dog fights and when there's shootings going on. Obviously, there's no lasers yet. Same with lightsabers; you just see the poles. So he got to see that what that film looked like from beginning to end in that kind of state. And so for him to now be involved in a Star Wars project, I find to be, you know, uh, quite amusing in some respects. But yeah, you know, and Scorsese himself is also a pretty good actor. Um, he himself has admitted he's not fond of acting, but it's fine. And yeah, Sigourney Weaver, she's there. She's not. I mean, she's important, but her presence isn't overtly huge. It's um, she's there enough. It's not a character like at least I didn't think were like, oh, we should have seen more of her. I'm like, I think they had her just enough, and yeah, it's this was a pretty fun film. I know there are people with strong opinions like, oh, it's excellent and great, or it's awful and this and that, and this was fun, and George Lucas wants Star Wars to be fun. Of course, seeing it on an IMAX probably helped with it would enhance my enjoyment of it. So um, sometimes that does, uh, I think, play a hand. Like if you see it on as big of a screen as you possibly can, that can definitely, uh, help you enjoy the experience uh, a bit more rather than I mean, I think even just seeing it on the big screen can help, but also there is a difference between just seeing it at home and seeing it in the theater. And this was fun. Um, a lot of people again have their opinions, and I'm not going to try to sway anybody one way or another. If you've seen it, if you really like it, fantastic. If you don't like it, all right. Plus, also, I guess as somebody who hasn't seen it, I'm able to see this sort of a fresh perspective of when it comes to like the Mandalorian. Outside of seeing like the opening scene and a few other clips here and there, I haven't. I don't really know a whole lot, but I think for this film, there was just enough to know that all right, I have an idea of what's going on. I didn't need too much context. I didn't feel like, well, I should have watched the whole show in order to get this. It wasn't like that, at least not for me. And perhaps for some of that negativity, it could be because people like the show, and then I've heard that as the show went on, it just wasn't as good. Like the first season was excellent, and then the second, partway through, it just kind of there was a decline, and then that decline kept going into this third final season, and so from that maybe of where it left off, and then seeing how this film is, maybe that also has a hand in people not being super fond. If I could, so I can definitely see how people would react to such a film like this if it all of a sudden it goes from here and then from the start of the show to here, and then it's here, and then just either continues on the same path or it goes downward, depending on what their thoughts of the film were. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, not a super long video, but I thought I'd give my thoughts and not really too much spoilers because it's been I know it's been out like a week now, but there's probably still some people who haven't seen it who might want to or hope to, and yeah. So if you've seen this film, let me know what you thought. If you liked it, disliked it, somewhere in between, like you liked certain parts of it, and then other parts you weren't super fond of. I will say, Rhoda the Hutt was the last thing is very, very interesting character. I do recall in the Clone Wars, the film, you know, he was there, but he was like a baby, and he basically doesn't want to. He wants to make his own name. He's kind of like a fighter, and so he just wants to basically, you know, make a name for himself, and people like him. They cheer for him. You know, like doing fights and everything. Went from being booed to being cheered for and well liked. um, compared to his father, who was a feared gangster. Who the only people who wouldn't really be afraid would be those who might work for him in a way. Like Han Solo wasn't really afraid too much of him. I mean, I know he has a reputation and all, but still, he's one of his dependable, people that works with Jabba in terms of smuggling stuff to him. So there's that. But there seems to be a healthy respect in that sense with Han and Jabba. Like Han knows his reputation, he knows what he's capable of, but also it's like I've been very reliable, and so I might get a little more leeway than some other guys. But yeah, he wants to make his own. Rhoda wants to make his own. His own name for himself, and that's completely fine. He doesn't want to be necessarily feared as a gangster, and yeah, or anything of that world. So yeah, that'll be the last thought I had. But yeah, I thought the acting was pretty good overall. Jon Favreau directed this and co-wrote this, so he was involved with the show. Like I believe he was a creator or co-creator of the show. So that only makes sense that he would do it, and I think he did a fine job. Not the best Star Wars film of all time. Obviously, I think I've made that abundantly clear which one is my favorite. But obviously, I often separate Disney and the George Lucas ones. So for Disney, it's like I do think the spin-off films have been better than the episode films that's supposed to be part of the George Lucas story. That's my opinion, but yeah. So anyway, again, leave your thoughts if you like the movie, dislike the movie, and hopefully you'll understand why I had no issues with this film overall. I know some people will talk about all the CGI and everything. It was a bit much, but I'm like, well, It's a lot of CGI anymore. Um, love it or not, you know, that's the world we live in, you know, in terms of movies. So, anyway, I hope all of you are doing well. Hope you're all having a great week. Hope you all have a great weekend and a great next week. And I'll see you all next time.